So it's been a while, guys. It's been a while. I was traveling and then I had COVID. So welcome back
Ugh.
to.
Don't go
welcome
to Brimstone Dimension, guys. That's where you pick up COVID. Let me tell you. And don't go on a cruise, because then that cruise is going to be disguised as some evil plot to get you to the Brimstone Dimension. It's a whole thing.
Okay, well, I work very close to the cruising industry, so I cannot say don't go on a cruise. I say go on a cruise. But I will say, yes, I did catch COVID, and I am getting over it. But I have a funny story though about that's
Ooh.
I guess I have a funny story about my time in London. I was in London, and I saw an actual like London bar fight happening in the streets. It was fascinating. My favorite part of it though was the police came, the bobbies as they call them in London. I mean, someone's gonna make fun of me for that, but whatever. They came and they broke it up. And as they broke it up, the guy who had instigated the fight starts walking away and he's like bloody. And then his girlfriend or wife is running. This was like out of a TV show. She's like running down the street in her heels, like clack, 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 all, Tony, what are you doing, Tony? What are you doing? And then the guy goes back to start fighting again. It was bananas. Thank you, London, for the show. I know. I went to see a show in London and then I saw that afterwards. It felt like two shows in one. I was like the best time ever. Anyway, guys, welcome back to Simply Amazing. It's been a little while since we've recorded just because of travel and COVID and bar fights in London, apparently. But, you know, hey, listen, you know, like whatever gets you going, whatever makes you excited. But we're back and we're going to talk about, sex. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about Kurt and chicks, or Kurt and Weaponless Zen. So we're going to talk about that. But first, before we get into that, just a quick reminder, I am Lisa, aka the OG Nocturne. You can find me all over the place. I'm always talking about Kurt. I'm talking about Nocturne. I'm talking about Wanda all the time. And of course, I am joined by the lovely, the fabulous, in a room that cannot contain how amazing she is, because it's just too small. Lauren.
It's very small, the room I'm in. It's oh my gosh, there's sex a thing in this room. There's a clothing rack, and it's a whole thing. But either way, even though I'm stressed, I'm still your friendly neighborhood by Lauren, and I'm excited to finally be recording again because, like Lisa said, it's just been a while. But we're trying to get our what's the saying? Our racks
ducks
together,
in a row?
our ducks in a row. See, you knew what I was talking about. Exactly. That's why we keep you.
Thank you. I'm glad I'm useful in some way, you know, other than just talking about
Hey!
all the time.
That's very useful.
Oh, thank you. Well, we both had very crazy weeks these past couple of weeks, so it's nice to get back into something fun and talk about some fun stuff, like lines on paper fucking each other. So let's get into it, right? You know, listen, I read Legion of X a couple weeks ago when it came out. So first of all, I need to preface this. I was on a ship in the middle of the ocean when Legion of X came out, and it took me hours to download. Oh my, like it took days to download. I kept reading like this first 5 pages over and over, being like, God damn it, give me something. And finally I got it and I got to read it, but it's been a couple weeks since I've read it. So we're not going to go into detail, but like, we're just here to talk about the sex. I mean, that's really what it's about, right?
I mean, it's true. I mean, listen, there's like 3 other plots going on in Legion of X, and I'm sure Cy Spurrier is like, look, I've got this grand thing I'm building up. But I don't care personally. No offense. I'm only here for Kurt fucking. Kurt does fuck everybody. So yay, we have that confirmation. It's not like we didn't know it already, but it's nice to actually see it on the page.
It's not like this is the first time he's fucked on the page. Like, we've seen it before.
No, it's not. But it's nice to see it again. I mean, been a while, and there's been a lot of this religious zealous shit that's kind of prevented writers from writing him that way, which is dumb, but whatever. And I just want to say, I called it. I knew they were gonna fuck, and I knew that she was gonna start having him question things a bit. He's coming back. I'm telling you. It may not happen in this series, but we're getting our Kurt back sooner rather than later. I'm hoping. Knock on wood.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, like, there was that episode of Seinfeld where they all decided to give up sex, and all the men got, like, super smart giving up sex, but Elaine got super dumb. And, like, it just reminds me of that, where it's like, you know, this is a character who needs sex. He needs it in his life. Otherwise, he's just not himself. And, going back to the beginning of his character, I mean, granted, not the very beginning where he was just an angry man who yelled at Sunfire, but, like, going back to, like, the 80s, like that. Like, look at, I mean, if you really want to see who Kurt is, look at what his creator wrote about him. Dave Cockrum wrote the 4-issue series that we covered a couple months ago. And I mean, that series is brimming with sexuality. This is what the character's always supposed to be. And here's the thing. The thing is that we all, we all go through like seasons in our lives, right? And we all change and we go through different things. So I don't think it's necessarily 100% out of character for Kurt to like maybe have an uptight season or something going on in his life. But I mean, he just needs to get it fucked out of him. And that's what he did. That's what we did. Thank you, Weaponless.
I mean, listen, she knew it. We knew it. She did the Lord's work, for lack of a better way of saying it. I think that's great here. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, sex, we could go in a whole different route with this, but sex is a healthy part of life. It's a healthy part of expressing yourself with someone else if you choose to and want to. And Kurt, that's a part of who Kurt is. He's flirty. He enjoys that with somebody. And the fact that he is now able to do this again with somebody when it's been God knows how long. I mean, does somebody want to go back and tell us when the last time Kurt fucked on the page was? If you do, like, tweet it at us, because I would love to see how many years it's been.
I'm thinking right now. I'm legitimately thinking right now, and it might have been during the Claremont Nightcrawler series. I'm gonna be real. I didn't read it. I'm not a big modern Claremont fan. I know he had like a thing with Bloody Bess during that. Before that, we're probably. I mean, oh no, he's fucked Amanda here and there. So it's like, I mean, here's the thing. Like he always goes back to it. Like he always goes back to his sister. Like it's just. I mean, speaking of, this is so funny. I just saw this thing on like. On Reddit about this woman who's dating this Italian guy and she's worried that he's having an affair with his sister on the side. And I'm like, is this a European thing? Don't come from Europeans. I know it's not, but I'm just saying, like, what is going on?
I was gonna say, unfortunately there's plenty of that here in the States too. Like, like, have you seen? There's this like crazy side to TikTok where people think it's okay to just be like, oh yeah, like this is my sibling, and yes, we are together. It's like, this is not okay to advertise. No. Like, stop it. Why is this a side to TikTok? Jesus Christ.
Oh my God. This is why I'm not on TikTok. I'm number 1, 40, and number 2, I can't with that. That's just, I can't absolutely.
Yeah.
However,
I mean, listen,
listen, but incest is actually a thing with blue people. Because have you ever heard of the blue people from Kentucky?
I swear to God, this is not what I wanted to hear today, Lisa. What the hell? I don't want to know. You're right, probably, but I don't want to know about it.
All right, everyone at home, Google the blue people from Kentucky, because it's a thing that
Absolutely not.
Or existed.
Absolutely not. I will not.
No, I'm not asking you to. I'm just saying, if you want to at home, Google it. There was a tribe of blue people who lived in Kentucky, and they all were fucking each other, and that's why they're blue. But anyway, moving on from that.
They were blue? How fucked up were their jeans? I mean, if we're talking in real life, that's crazy. Oh my Lord. Anyways, let's go back to Kurt, the happy
maybe Mystique's parents were siblings, and that's how it all started.
I hate that. We're moving on from this.
Okay, yes,
There's too much to unpack. I don't want it.
This is what happens, everybody, when me and Lauren haven't spoken in a while. It devolves into craziness. Okay, let's get back to Legion. Yeah. Let's talk about that. So before getting into the actual sex of it, I do want to mention one thing. Like, the big bad guy is a skinwalker. And have I mentioned this on the pod? I don't know if I have. Fucking Nightcrawler's daughter is a skinwalker. So, like, what's going on? I just want to mention that. Like, Nocturne is like a skinwalker. Like, she possesses bodies and goes into them. So, like,
true. And then on top of that, you've got the next comic coming out after the Sabretooth line, which if you haven't read, you should. It was actually one of the bigger good surprises with these newer X books. It was pretty good. But that's the next title, spoiler alert, is going to be Sabretooth and the Exiles.
yeah, but it's not like the Exiles. It's like
it's not, but
the people in the pit.
Things can connect down the line, Lisa. Trust the process.
I know, but this to me reads like when they brought back Excalibur in the 2000s, but it was a Doctor Strange book, and it's like, what the fuck is this? Like, who decided to call this Excalibur? Point, yeah. You know, like, who decided to call this Excalibur? Like, my whole thing is, stop giving me crumbs and give me a fucking cookie. Like, stop. Enough with the crumbs. Enough with the Canticle Fatalia. Enough with calling exiles that aren't exiles. Give us what we're asking for, and by we I mean me specifically. So anyway, let's get moving on from the whole Skinwalker thing. I just am with this. I'm like, I feel so trolled by Marvel. I feel so trolled. But anyway, moving on from that, I want to say I didn't realize that Weaponless Zen was like as normal looking as she is, and I hate to put it that way, but like that whole thing that she has on her head, it's not part of her face. It's like a headdress. So interesting. Okay,
she's still hot. I don't care.
Oh no, I'm not saying she's not hot. I'm not saying she's not hot. I mean, she's Iraqi. Most Iraqis are pretty fucking hot. Except for, I mean, no, there are some weird ones. The fucking big eyeball, I don't want anything to do with that. Thank you.
I feel like that's like trying to say most humans are hot. That's not a thing.
No, it's true. I mean, for the most part, the Iraqis seem to be, there's pretty hot Iraqis, but yeah, there's also, I'm sorry, Iraqis. I'm like calling them Iraqis. No, Iraqis. No. Yeah, different type of people. I don't want to do page by page with this. We're already like 10 minutes in, and we'll be here until next Tuesday. But just, you know, I really enjoyed them each challenging each other as far as, you know, what their beliefs are. Although I don't feel like Weaponless Zen was challenged as much because she's someone who's obviously got a lot of conviction, and she was raised in a society that is like incredibly different than where Kurt was raised. So for her, it's clear that sex is like a means to an end more than it is a, it's not a thing that people who love each other necessarily do. It's just like, it's like going out for popcorn at the movies or something.
I think more so this was more a head front for Kurt in terms of challenging his convictions, right? So I agree she was less challenged here, but I think that will continue. I think her path to being challenged is going to look different than his because, like you said, they're basically on opposite ends of the spectrum. You know, Kurt's even, you know, through all his weird characterization he's gotten over the years, he at his core, thank God, still wants love and still loves to express that through different means, and sex is a part of that. She has been taught that, yes, sex has a purpose, but that's it. Like you said, it's a means to an end. But throughout her connection with Kurt, I think she does want more, but she's being challenged because she's been taught not to want more or not to see the purpose in more. So I think we're going to see her continue to open up as well if it's written well. That's what I would like to see at least. And I think Kurt will challenge her in that way.
Yeah, I don't know that she is going to be his next love interest. I think she's more just here to challenge him and to here's the thing with Kurt. Kurt doesn't just want sex. Kurt wants the package. He wants the family. He wants the wife. He wants the kids. He wants the, 2.5 kids with a dog and a cat and all that shit. Like, that's what he wants in his life.
2.5.
Yeah, like that. He wants the American dream. Like, he wants that life. And it's always been like kind of what he's wanted. And so, and like, she's not about that at all. So I don't really see her being his next big love interest so much as being I don't see her as somebody who is a love interest, period. Like, she wants to fuck and she will fuck and then she'll move on, and I respect that, and I think that's awesome. I think that I like characters like that. Like, you don't need to be a man's love interest. You don't need to be his side piece. You can just fuck him and keep on going and live your life. I am 100% behind that. I will say I do enjoy that when she's leaving the little fuck palace, wherever they are, the little fuck flower, Stacey X like waves at her when it's like, oh, okay, all right. Like, yeah, the fuck flower, I love how Stacey there. TM fuck flower, guys. It is officially
Hey,
now
babe,
a
want to meet
simply
up at the
amazing.
fuck flower tomorrow? Great. See you there, XOXO.
Listen, if Stacey X has not named her brothel the fuck flower, then she is doing it wrong. 100% wrong. But I just love how, like, Weaponless Zen's leaving, she waves to Stacey X, and Stacey X is like, yeah, I know, you're fucking the guy who doesn't want anybody to fuck. Okay, good, move on. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Weaponless Zen, I totally see what you're saying, and that may be the path for her character that holds, which I wouldn't think would be bad writing or anything necessarily, because that would be in character. But at the same time, I'm a sucker for characters that are kind of like Weaponless Zen now, where they have these strong convictions and they're set in their ways and they're like, nothing can change my ways. But then this one person who's like a little bit softer and all that, they bring out this other side to them, and they have them see like the passions in life go over. Like, I'm a sucker for that cheesy shit. And I can see Kurt very much being that person first. So even if they're not long-term love interests, I personally think they still are love interests. And if anything, their story is not anywhere near over yet. Like, I think the next while, like, they will be a thing and they're going to continue challenging each other. And by the end of it, whether they last or not, like, she's going to become more open. Not as open as Kurt is, obviously, but she will become more open, and Kurt will find his convictions more. So I think they are love interests, and I think that I hope to see her challenge as well, because again, it's not like anything is wrong with, like, oh, being strong in your ways, but she is being challenged on the fact that seeing things as perfectly straightforward as she is with her people, that's also flawed, and I think that has to be explored through some route. Like, there's a
Yeah,
reason.
I don't disagree with you. My only issue with this trope is is when they tend to take strong women and turn them into, like, uh wives and mothers. And again, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with, like, being a wife and a mother. Absolutely not, right? I mean, but I like her character as is. I don't want her to, like, be reduced to Kurt's girlfriend, essentially. That makes
No.
sense.
And yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I don't think that would make sense. One, it doesn't make sense for the plot right now. She's actually there for more reasons than that, which is good. So yeah, if it were reduced to that, I would just say that's poor writing. Like, that wouldn't be a bad way to take the character in terms of pursuing, allowing them to have some more love interest, because I mean, that's already been done in this issue. I don't really think that can be contested at this point. Like, they literally had a whole issue where, yeah, there's other stuff going on, but the whole issue was them fucking and talking in between, like having pillow talk. Like, people that just fucking say bye don't do that much pillow talk. Like, and to that extent, it's not like they're just talking about, like, oh yeah, I'm just dealing with life, okay, bye, see you later. Like, they're having big conversations, which is really cool. So
Oh yeah.
anyways,
Well,
I agree. I don't want her reduced to
yeah.
anything less than
I
who she is as a character.
I think the reason that they're having such big conversations has a lot to do with the fact that, like, Weaponless Zen has no stake in this. Like, she doesn't care. Like, if they never meet up, like, in my opinion, like, for her, it's just like, we can talk about whatever. Like, this is just two friends, like, chatting. Just because we're fucking doesn't mean, like, we can't just have a chat, right? And there's no, like, stake where it's like, oh my God, does he like me? Should I cuddle with him? Should it? No, it's just like, no, we had sex and now we're going to chat about stuff. And of course, the reason that they're chatting so much is because Kurt needs like 20 to 40 minutes between each time. So there you go. He needs his recovery time. I mean, can't go. Listen,
Oh
he's a
no, and
superhuman, but he's not a superhuman.
no, and yeah, that makes sense with the pillow talk. But yeah, I think again, even I don't think she's necessarily in love with the guy, with Kurt or anything, but she is fond of him, because I feel like, because she is so strong, because she is so careful, she knows what she's doing. She doesn't just fuck anybody. She can fuck anybody she wants. Let's be real. Weaponless Zen
Oh yeah.
can fuck anyone she fucking wants. But why does she choose specifically him? Right? Like, I mean, even from the start, she already deemed him as worthy to fuck, which I feel like is also a sign of. Anyways, I think there's so much more to her character to explore, and I'm just really excited to see what else is beneath it, beyond, her loyalty to Iraqi and all that, to the Iraqi and Morocco, and wanting to fuck. Like, there's more underneath, I guess, is my point, and I want to see more than that. I want to see more of her character come out soon. So hopefully we get even more than we're getting, because we've gotten a good amount, but I'm eager for more.
Yeah, well, she's someone who's duty bound, and she is doing her best to work her ass off and also fuck her ass off. So I mean, girl,
Good for her, queen.
like, you know what? I stan a queen, and she's a queen. So there you go. Not to move away from the fucking, but I want to just talk briefly about Juggernaut, because I love Juggernaut, and I just love how Kurt totally throws Professor Gaslighter under the bus and is like, "Yeah, Kurt told me you voted against me, asshole." And it's just like, Xavier, why are you such a dick? Like, why are you such a dick? You know, like, I don't like, Juggernaut's been good for a while. I don't remember recently. He's not a bad guy. Like, he's actually quite reformed, and like, it's been 20 years since he was in the Austin run as a hero. So, you know, like, Charles seems to be willing to give everybody a chance except the people closest to him, like his stepbrother and his son and like all this other shit. It's just, Charles, when you look around yourself and everybody around you who's related to you is a villain, maybe you're the fucking problem.
Yeah, maybe Professor Gaslighter is the villain at this point, and we been knew. I mean, it's just facts at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any debating it, and I think things like you're talking about with Juggernaut on this issue, they're showing that, right? It's some people really like this. Like, it's like, we're like, yeah, it's cool to see a twist on it. Fuck Xavier, we're having fun with this. And other people really don't like it because they're like, well, but Charles, he's the OG and he was Mr. Nice Guy, 20 years ago, and now all of a sudden he's the villain, like, big whoop. And it's like, but it's cool to explore this, because the thing is, unless they go a complete like 180, um Xavier's never going to be a stereotypical villain. He's always going to be this gray area villain where, yes, there's good to him and you understand the purpose, but you also understand that he fucks up all the time. And that's where he is. So that's why I really enjoy the take that they've been doing with him the past couple of years in the X-Books, is because, yeah, like, he's not just this picture perfect guy that, like, has all this humility and, does what's best for the X-Men, but darn, I fucked up again. I didn't mean to. No, he means it sometimes. And we've seen that in this House of X era, and this, like, he in
Yeah.
Krakoa, he fucks up and he has no apology sometimes because he feels completely justified. Like, he's the overzealous that Emma used to be, but in a worse way, if that makes any sense.
I want to point out, I mean, you're absolutely right. And I want to point out something that David says, is that's the problem with societies built on secrets, Dad. The men who control them forget they're just as fallible as the rest of us. And that describes Xavier to a T for me, where it's just, he feels like he is beyond, like, accountability and beyond, like, it's like he feels like he's done this great thing for mutant kind by building Krakoa and creating this thing, but it was all built on lies and secrets, and it was all built on secrets that were not, like, available to people. Like, nobody knew Moira was down there. Nobody knew the reason that precogs were not allowed to be resurrected was because Moira fucking hates Destiny. Like, it's just everything was built on secrets. There's this beautiful utopia that they've created, but there's all of this horror underneath it, and all these rules that nobody's really explaining, and everybody's just kind of buying into it because they have this utopia. But it's not a utopia unless everybody can, enjoy it and really be a part of it. And they were very exclusionary as far as who was going to be resurrected and not. And that all bit them in the ass. And now Moira's not a mutant anymore, and she's off with Orcus, being a fucking Orcus, whatever. Different kind of fuck flower. That's a fuck you flower right there, Orcus. And then, yeah. And, but I will say, like, I feel like Legion of X is not very connected to the rest of the X books, and I don't know what to say about that.
Well, that's one thing I want to talk about, and I'm glad you brought it up, is in general with the X books right now, I feel like they're less connected than they have been since the Krakoan era started, in terms of there's all these different subplots going on in each series. Like, Excalibur has been back in whatever it's called, the other world or whatever, which is cool. But again, that's kind of its own separate thing. There's little bits and pieces that connect to other Krakoan stuff, but overall, it's just Otherworld. And then you've got X-Force. I don't even read that. I don't know what they're doing ever, but whatever. You got the Wolverine book. Don't know what he's doing. That should be a Laura book, but whatever. Marauders is in fucking space, just running around. Don't know what that's about. So like again, everything just feels so disconnected right now. And the last part of the Krakoan era, it felt like even though, every book had its own separate story going on, it was still way more interconnected, and now it isn't. And I don't know whether to contribute that to them not having an official head of X anymore. I don't know whether to contribute that to they just want to take a break from connecting it so much and they're going to bring it back together. But that's been bothering me too. Like, I don't read most of the X books now. Like, I've been picking up Legion of X only because of Kurt, and then they actually got him to fuck, so I had to keep picking it up. God damn it, Marvel. Um, and I've been reading Immortal X-Men and X-Men Red, but Immortal X-Men's my favorite right now. That one is a banger. But otherwise, I'm just like, I don't have an interest in reading these other books, and it's frustrating because, I mean, it saves me money, which is good, but like, I want to be invested like I was in the last, in the beginning of the era. So I don't know. I feel like the only easy solution I can think of, I'm not even sure it's the solution, would be to get another head of X that knows what they're doing to bring it all together. But I don't even know if that's the issue or not. So it's stressing me out because it doesn't feel unified. And then with these events happening, like we've got Judgment Day happening right now, and to me that doesn't even feel like a X-Men event. I mean, I know it's 3 groups, but it really just feels like Eternals featuring the X-Men Avengers. I don't know. That's a whole other conversation. And then you've got the next event that was announced, which is Sinister coming up. Like, there's so many fucking X-Men events. I just want a solid era. I don't need 200 X-Men events. Now I'm going to be one of those people that's complaining about events.
Girl, here's the thing. Every single comic book reader eventually starts complaining about events. It's true. When I first started reading comics, the first big event that came out, like the big event that happened when I was first started reading, I first started reading like 2002, but like the first big event that I remember was House of M. And I bought every single comic that was House of M. Even the Iron Man one, which was absolute dog shit. The Spider-Man one was really good. Spider-Man one was great. Iron Man one was awful. I mean, I bought all of them and I was super into it. And then it was like, I can't remember don't ask me what the next events were, but like I did all that and I was excited. Then the next event came out like maybe a year or two later. And it was like, oh, okay. All right, I'm in. And then it was like the next event came out and it was like, the events used to be years apart. And now they're like crushing all these events in 1 year. And it's just like, come guys, this is just what happens when you're a comic book reader. These events happen over and over and over again. The fact of the matter is, and the thing we need to remember about all this is, it's a business and they're here to make money. That's the bottom line, is they're here to make money. So they're going to do everything they can to make money, but it's up to us as readers to decide what we want to and don't want to read. So my thing is, I would love it if they would make a decision. Either all of these are connected or they're not. Like, I don't stop. Like, let me read an entire story. Let me read something and not have to halfway through the the book's run, I have to now pick up like 5 other things because it's part of some event. Like, I'm totally happy with Marvel having their event books and then having their monthly titles. I think that's great. Enough with the tying everything together in I just don't make me have to buy a freaking Iron Man book ever again, Marvel. Ever again. Ever.
Yeah, I mean, it's just frustrating too, because again, I like a good event now and then. I agree. And I would be even happier, as you said, if they would just, when there's the event going on, pause the monthly titles, do the event books, then reopen the monthly titles I think that would work. We still get drained on events, but at least then it's like, cool, you're either an event, you buy it, or hey, you get a break for 1 month to 3 or 4 months because of the event. So save some money. Cool, good for you. Read some other stuff, catch up on old shit. But the thing that's bothering me specifically with events right now with the X-Men that I'm starting to see, and it could change, but right now that's what I'm seeing, is that, so before, when Krakoa first started, they weren't tying the X-Men to all these other events. I felt like, like X's Swords was the thing, but that was once, and they dropped events for a bit, and they went back to the books and doing stuff in there. Then they did the Hellfire Gala. That was fine. That was an X-Men thing only. Cool. But now I'm feeling like that now the Krakoa era has been established longer, and that they are separating the main titles. They're like, okay, so to bring it right together now, we have to do events. No, I don't want events all the time with the X-Men. It's unnecessary. Stop it. Like an event every once in a while, cool. And within the X titles, cool. But if that's the only way you're going to interconnect these books, other than subtle touches here or there, don't want it.
Totally agree. I want to say that, again, from a business standpoint, here's what I perceive happening right now is the MCU is now starting to actually consider, X-Men properties in movies and stuff. I mean, we're going to have, even though, Namor, he's a mutant, but whatever, but he's going to be in the next Black Panther, which I am fucking all about. I can't wait to see my Fishman up on the big screen. I'm so excited. And I love what they've done with him. I love that they've given him
wings.
Oh my God, the stupid little ankle wings. I love it though. The stupid little tiny ankle wings that allow him to fly. Physics in comic books are so stupid, and I love every bit of it. And I love what they've done with him. I love that they've given him this like South American culture behind him rather than Atlantis, which, I mean, they could have gone with Atlantis, but I'm happy to see kind of something different and something exciting. But so I think what's happening is, as the MCU is now starting to kind of bring mutants in, and they're, obviously they're looking at their next phase, which their next phase will likely involve more mutants. I think the comics side is like, okay, well, Marvel has spent the past 20 years trying to tell us that the X-Men are not that big of a deal. Like, the X-Men aren't that great, guys. We got Inhumans. You don't need no X-Men. We got Inhumans. We got Avengers. We got all these properties that nobody would fucking buy. And that's to get us out, and we had to sell the good ones. So we got all these other, like, it's like going to McDonald's and wanting a quarter pounder, and they're like, we don't got quarter pounders, but you know what I do have? I have a bun with some lettuce on it. That's the Avengers. The Inhumans are like the fucking moldy bun on the floor. But yeah, anyway, so I think what they're doing now is they're like, okay, so we've already propped up these, and again, this is like, for me, it's so crazy to me, because when I was a kid, the X-Men and Spider-Man were the biggest fucking things when I was a kid, and now we've gone to this other way where it's like the Avengers are so huge, and it's like nobody gave a shit about the Avengers before the MCU. Nobody.
Well, and that's gonna switch the second the X-Men are in the MCU. I mean, it's going to be so fun. I'm excited to watch that big flip, but I'm also like dreading it at the same time, because on the one hand, it's be fun to see Avengers fans be like, wait, what? The X-Men? What? Nobody cares about my Avengers anymore? But on the other hand, it's gonna be annoying, because then the other half of those fans are gonna be Avengers fans pretending to have been X-Men fans all their lives.
Well, listen.
But anyways, it's fun. A fan's a fan.
I'm happy to welcome fans in. Come and enjoy. Like, the water is fine. We got a man with tiny fish wings, so enjoy, please. The thing about Marvel, though, is that the thing about Marvel is, even though they were downplaying the X-Men for so long, like, still Wolverine was their biggest freaking seller, period, of anything.
Yes.
Like, Wolverine was everywhere. So like they've always known that the money is in the X-Men. The problem is they couldn't make the money. Now that they can,
correct.
Here's what I see happening is they're doing these big events with like the Eternals and the Avengers for two reasons. Number one, they need to make the Eternals a thing because they made a movie about it and they probably want to make a sequel. So they want to like solidify the Eternals as a bigger property than they actually are. Because I mean, who's fucking heard of the Eternals before this shit, right? Number one. Number two, I think they look at it as, okay, so we've propped up the Avengers this whole time. We have a movie with the Eternals, and now we need to bring the X-Men to that same level in the comics so that people understand when our next phase that comes out is focused almost exclusively on X-Men properties. Because when it comes down to it, there's no bigger property that Marvel owns than X-Men, as far as the amount of characters, the amount of storylines. I mean, when you talk about some of the most iconic storylines in comic book history, not Marvel history, comic book history, you're talking about stories like the Dark Phoenix saga. You're talking about God Loves, Man Kills. You're talking about Days of Future Past. You know, these are some of the most iconic stories ever told in comics, and they're X-Men stories. Granted, there are definitely iconic stories outside of the X-Men, But if you look at like a top 10 list, there's going to be more X-Men stories than anything else. So, those are the ones that are most memorable. Those are the ones that people think about. Those are the ones that like have created the tropes that we use over and over and over again in media. So I think that the reason that they're doing these big events is like they're trying to now prop the X-Men up to get to get people excited for when they finally bring them to the movies in the MCU, because they've spent 20 years like basically fighting against the X-Men and trying to make the X-Men seem like they're not a big deal when they have been the biggest and most successful property with Marvel since their inception. Well, not since, since 1975, because they actually were canceled before 1975. So
rip.
Well, I mean, listen, you got a book about these diverse students, and they're all just white kids with one girl and a teacher who wants to fuck her.
Diversity back then.
I know. Like,
fucking
think about it. Really, what saved the X-Men was 1975, Giant Size X-Men coming out, and then Chris Claremont taking the book, and he actually took it in an interesting direction. They introduced actual diverse characters, from different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different countries, different everything. And, that's what made it interesting, because you talk about, someone who's, when you talk about someone who is discriminated against for being different, doesn't matter like why, but and then your book is all about these pretty people. It's like, I can't relate to this. I relate more. I think that's why, when you talk about like the 05, you find there are more fans of characters from like Giant Size than there are of the 05. I think personally. I mean, Wolverine is one of the Giant Sized, right? Like Nightcrawler, Storm. I would say the only one I think that would come close is Jean Grey, but that's because Jean Grey's a bitch. Like she's a good bitch. Like she's awesome.
I love her. That's a whole other episode I want to do one day. I know this is a Kurt episode, but listen, we could talk a Kurt and Jean friendship, and I'm going to talk about why Jean is actually a good person. Yes, she has issues, but don't we fucking all give her a damn break. She was great in X-Men Red because she had a good writer. Didn't have to deal with a man dragging around, being all whiny with her. Okay, period.
Yes, I agree. We should do a Jean Grey episode. I even think we should do a reread of X-Men Red and talk about it, because first of all, it is where the beard is debuted, and the beard is like the most important.
I'm adding it to the docket right now. Done.
Amazing.
It's coming soon to your podcast, everyone.
And just remember, when Jean had her great plan for mutants, and she had this great idea for mutants, the first person she went to was Kurt. He was the first one, because she knew he would understand, because they are very similar in that way.
Yes, we are going to
go to Scott
about the show.
Oh yeah, no, she didn't go to Scott because Scott was, I don't know, too busy denying his parenthood. And
I think we're getting way off topic here, but I just have to say this. I think Scott and Bruce Wayne would have a lot to bond over, because they're both overly privileged in some way white men that cry over their women all the time. But then, unfortunately, I don't think they intend to, but unfortunately, because of the way they're stuck in their own ways and they're very headstrong and stubborn, they drag those women down with them. No, uplift your partners or don't be with your partner, okay?
I just want to say that I can't believe you did Bruce that way, comparing him to Scott.
I love Bruce. Listen, I love Bruce, but like, I think the only this is now we're just getting on. I'm getting on a tangent, but I'm a Bruce and Talia shipper. Talia al Ghul, because in the 90s they're an OTP. They were the OTP until they got fucked over by a certain writer I will not discuss. But ever since, I mean, again, Bruce and Selena can work, but like, yeah, he gets stuck in his own ways, and he even drags his own Bat fam down. Bruce, like, again, I love Bruce Wayne. I love that man. Do not get me wrong, but he's a terrible father. He's not a good partner. Very rarely has he been a good partner to any person he's been with. And I think Scott, in a lot of ways, is like that, but he's had a better track record than Bruce. I will say that for Scott. That's a win for Mr. Scott.
Okay, I disagree wholeheartedly. I can't even believe you're saying this to me. Now, granted, I am not as big of a Bat fan as you are. I don't read the comics. I mean, years ago I did. I'm more of a Catwoman person. I love Catwoman. And
you can do better than Bruce.
Really,
hot take.
Well, I don't really have a shit for Bruce because I don't really care. Like I mean, Talia, I would say if I were to pick someone, I would pick Talia only because Damian is awesome. I fucking love Damian. But I can't believe. Okay, can I just remind you that Scott left his wife and child. Scott left his wife and child, which caused his wife to go fucking crazy, and then his son went into the. I mean, I just. Bruce at least tries.
That's fair.
Bruce tries. He might not be a great father or partner, but goddamn, he's adopted those kids. He's bringing them in.
You know what?
There's not a Robin he hasn't fucking brought into his house. You know what I mean? He's just
and then he's run out. He ran the first one out. Dick, he ran out because he treated Dick like such shit. Okay, you know what? I think we need to do a whole separate random debate on this one day, and we should put up a poll. Who's the better romantic partner, Scott Summers or Bruce Wayne?
No, I don't want romantic partner. I just want straight up, who's the better person, Scott Summers or Bruce Wayne?
Who's the better person? Okay, we can do that.
Straight up. Scott Summers or Bruce Wayne, who's the better person?
I'm sorry, Kurt fans. We've gone a tangent, and I'm sorry we gave DC Comics a stand on the podcast. It had to happen. I mean, we're comic readers. We're nerds. I don't know what to tell you.
Listen, we can talk about whatever we want. This is our fucking podcast. This is the Nightcrawler podcast. It's called Simply Amazing, and every goddamn thing I say is simply amazing. So there you go.
Yes! Judge Lisa rules.
Yeah, okay. We have gone way off topic, and we have gone way over time. So we should probably wrap it up. I know, right? No, we're having a good time, though. This is fun. I just want to mention one thing. We're going to do an episode at a later date with a guest that we were planning about this topic. But I do need to bring up that I love the mention of the tail, because that has been a trope in so much fan fiction for so long about what Kurt gets up to with his tail. It's yeah.
Yes, I love that line, man. When I read that, I was like, thank you. It's officially canonized. I can have this forever. Nobody can take it from me now. Doesn't matter. You can't retcon that. You just can't.
I'm just saying, you're going to pretend that there is a man with a prehensile tail, and he's just going to let it sit during sex? Come on.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah, no, he fucking uses it, and he uses it good. All right, we're getting into it right now, but we're going to talk about this in another episode once we have that all
great.
Done and dusted. But yeah, it'll be a good episode. It'll be the tail episode, all about it. We got to do a beard episode too. It can just be me talking about how much I love that fucking beard forever.
I think that could just be any Kurt fan talking about how much we love the beard. I know there are some people that don't like it, which if you're one of the people who doesn't like it, you should tweet us and tell us why, because I'm confused. No judgment, but I just genuinely don't understand how you don't like the beard. I don't get it.
I think people are super caught up in they're super caught up in the physics of it. He's furry. How does he grow a beard? And it's fucking don't worry about it. He's also blue and has a fucking tail. Why are you if you're so caught up on how does he grow a beard, riddle me this, how does he fucking teleport? It's just, I always love people who look for who like to nitpick about the reality in these books, and it's just okay, remember that you're reading a book about a guy who shoots lasers out of his eyes. Moving on. Anyway, so well guys, thanks so much for joining us to talk about our little sexy times with Kurt and Legion of X. Which issue was this? Number 4, I think. And I think he's going to
Legion
be turning into 4. Next issue turns into a monster. I don't know. We'll find out.
Oh, that's that. We'll talk about that, guys, because I've seen a lot of you on Twitter talking about how you're really not looking forward to that route if they take it. And samesies, I'm hoping it's just a temporary stop and there's a point for it. Even if it's not a point I agree with, I'm just hoping it's Spurrier's just trying to make some weird point, and then he's going to move on from it. But we'll see. We will see.
Here's the thing. We are left in this issue with Kurt basically being in this no place, or in this I don't know. He's in this weird side pocket dimension or something, inside his head, with this new god who basically tells him that all gods are made up. And of course, Kurt is well, fuck. I mean, really? I hope not. But so it might not be that, here's the thing. Just because something's on the cover of an issue doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be the big plot of the issue. It could just be something that they wanted. And I could see this transformation being not about him actually transforming so much as him facing his own kind of insecurities and fears, which have always been being seen as a demon or something evil or something bad, right? That was the big thing about Azazel becoming his father, which again, we'll never talk about again, But the big thing with that was, that him finding out that his father was essentially Satan was like all the years of him fighting against being called a demon and being called evil and all these things. Now he finds out, oh, well, actually, my dad's Satan. So that sucks. And I can see that, maybe this transformation that he's going to go through, if there's a transformation, maybe it's more just in his head, where like this God that he's speaking with is making him face kind of the reality of who he is and the reality of his, parentage, which again, Destiny is his mother, Mystique is his father, but still, we got to do a fucking canon. So maybe that's part of it. It might be more metaphorical than actual, like an actual change. I mean, listen, you can't take a fucking character that's been around for almost 50 years, guys. Almost 50 years this character's been around, and then just be like, we're gonna throw some horns on him and now done. It's just like, I mean, granted, they did do that to Beast, kind of, but Beast sucks. No one cares.
Yeah, sorry, old school Beast fans. If you're somehow listening to this podcast and you haven't been keeping up and you're just finding out Beast sucks, I'm so sorry. Don't read the new Krakoa stuff for Beast. You will be very sad. It's not worth it. Don't do it.
Beast has sucked a long ass time. There is a panel that I've posted several times. No, there is a panel I've posted several times from the Avengers where he fat shames Wanda. And that was in the back of her mind when she started fucking disassembling. She was just like, fuck these assholes. I got fat shamed. They took my babies away. I'm fucking killing all of you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. If you haven't seen that panel, tweet at me. I'll tweet it to you. He literally is like, you shouldn't eat that cake because blah, 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 blah. And it's like, fuck you, Beast. All right, go mind your own goddamn business. How about?
Beast, go mind your damn business. New segment.
Exactly. There you go. Beast, go mind your goddamn business. Well, anyway, thank you guys again for joining us. I tried to do the outro and then we went for like another 10 minutes, but it's all good. We are having a good time.
We love long goodbyes. We love long goodbyes.
We love a long goodbye, but listen, there's nothing wrong with a good Irish goodbye. A good Irish goodbye is sometimes exactly what you need. But for those who don't know what an Irish goodbye is when you just leave and don't say anything. Bye! No, we're not going to do that. If you like us, send us, review us. Please go on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever you listen to this. Maybe a tin can with a rope. I think I've made that joke before, but whatever. Go rate us, review us, say you like us. If you want us to cover something, please let us know. We've got tons of stuff planned, but we are all about hearing from you guys, and we want to know what you want to talk about as far as Kurt. Trust me, more sex stuff is coming. I mean, listen, it's gonna be happening, so we're gonna talk about that. You can find us at simplyamazingpod.com. That has all of our socials, so our Twitter, Facebook, Twitch. What else do we have? I don't know. Instagram. We got a ton of socials. Whatever. Go find us there. We also have some transcripts up. I'm going to work on getting some more stuff up there eventually once I am less COVID-y and less travel-y. But tweet us. Let us know what you think. Let us know that you love us. Let us know that you hate us, because I am learning to put hexes on people and I need some practice. So please let me know. Lauren, where can they find you?
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at friendlynbhdbi, and all my other links are there. And listen, it'll never happen, but I'm going to dream of the day that Marvel shows us how Kurt uses his tail on panel. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Oh, girl, just go to AO3 and you'll find plenty.
No, but I want the visual. I can read it and get it in my head, but I want a visual. I want it drawn out. Who can kind of commission? Do we have any artists listening? I'll commission you. Let us know if you're willing to draw it.
Girl, search Rule 34 Nightcrawler. I guarantee it exists. It's already there. It's already there. It exists. I've seen it. Trust, it exists. If you like the tail, let us know. If you don't like the tail, again, look into hex, people. And don't forget, everybody, Lauren has a show every Sunday that you all have to tune into.
I do.
What is going to be on the next one that you're doing?
So we're recording this on a Sunday, actually. So today we're doing an episode where we're talking about, funny enough, I brought up Bruce Wayne. We're talking, I have one of my friends, Eric, coming on, and we're talking about No Man's Land #0, which is a DC comic. It's Batman, Huntress. He really likes Huntress. It's supposed to be a cool issue, so I'm excited to learn about from him. And then we're going to do comic Mad Libs. So if you like the chaos in here, we have lots of chaos happening on the show. So that's happening. It's Sundays at 1:00 Eastern. So if you want to tune in, just go to my Twitter. You'll see the link to all that stuff. But yeah, it's gonna be great. And of course, Lisa will be coming back on. We're gonna do more Kurt stuff at some point.
Oh
so
yeah, no,
I'm trying to
we
do a mix
will,
of
we will for
everything.
sure. We should do a saga. We should do a saga one.
Girl, I won't be talking that episode. It's just gonna be you.
You've read Saga. You're reading it.
I know, but like you love it more than I do.
Oh my god, I love it
so
much.
like
And
I'll be like, oh my god, I like this, and you'll be like, oh my god, but Lauren. And then 10 minutes later, I'm gonna be like, this is great. I don't have to do any work on my show.
To be fair, though, we got a lot of time to do a Saga episode because they're on hiatus again.
Jesus Christ. I saw that and I was like, thank God I haven't been invested as long as you have, because I can't. Like, I'm already like, bruh. I get it, but also why?
Just BKV, I know you're busy, man, but like, stop leaving us hanging. Stop. Well, anyway, everybody, thank you all again for joining us. It has been fabulous. If you are out there wondering about Kurt's tale, again, Rule 34 Nightcrawler, search it up. But, you know, if you do that, you might want to erase your history, your browsing history. But even if you don't, it's okay. You're still simply amazing.